Hi trader, welcome to Admiral Markets. My name is Chris and I'll be reviewing the Forex market, taking a look at the break and bounce spots that I see on the major currency pairs such as the euro dollar. First of all though, please be aware that this video is intended for a global audience. It may not be suitable for everyone. To find out more information about that and other conditions and details, visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence and contact an appropriate entity. Also, trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This video is for educational and informational purposes only, and by continuing watching this video and webinar, you agree with this disclaimer. Alright, let's start with the euro dollar. Looking at the daily chart, you can see we have a clear support line at 108, and price bounced off of that right about here 2 weeks ago, and last week actually when it tried to retest the 108. So from this point of view, we're still in the triangle with an orange trend line above it, resistance and a support line below it. And from this point of view, I would expect a break above the resistance line to retest this red resistance, the higher trend line, for a continuation of this consolidation, a continuation of this sideways movement. Especially in August, I don't expect a big breakout here to occur. Of course, if it does push through 108 to the downside, that could be the moment that a downtrend continuation is happening, because we still have that downtrend, of course, here, that momentum to the downside where I have the red arrow. So if we break below 108, that could be the signal that this momentum is continuing again to the downside. I'm not expecting that in the first 2-3 weeks of August. Perhaps in the last week or September, I do expect eventually the bearish break. In the next few weeks, I just expect kind of a range to continue here. But of course, there is the ADP news event and the NFP news event on Friday, ADP on Wednesday. Those are important figures for the US dollar. And of course, those could have unexpected effects and impacts on the euro dollar and all the dollar pairs in general. So that's something to keep an eye on. But in general, for me, this important resistance line could mark maybe a continuation of this consolidation and a break above that resistance. I could see perhaps a momentum continuation. We see momentum here too, kind of like a zigzag continuation here like that. That's something that I will keep an eye on throughout this week. Before I take a look at the other pairs, take a look at the link here, ukforexawards.com/vote. And of course, if you appreciate Admiral Markets as a broker, or as for the education and analysis, or for the customer service, or all four, we would highly appreciate your vote on Admiral Markets. So take a look. You can vote up to August the 7th, so just a few more days left. We would really appreciate your vote on any of these topics for Admiral Markets. Also this week we have some webinars looking at fibs and waves tomorrow on Tuesday, Wednesday taking a look at strategy, and Thursday master the Forex waves, taking a look at part 1, part 2 next week, Thursday, August the 13th on Thursday again. Okay, next one on the list is the pound dollar daily chart, and of course we see a massive recovery here of the pound. Basically here, good zigzags, but now we have a consolidation just like the euro dollar, a bit smaller here on this daily chart, and price is just stuck between the red resistance line and the green support line. So what I'm waiting for is a break of that top. That's what I'm expecting at the moment, because we are an uptrend channel. Look at these green lines here. So from that point of view, I wouldn't be surprised to see the break to the upside and that continuation. Now, if price does not do that and actually breaks the support line, I would still be cautious, because there's a bigger channel bottom right here. So that's not much space between this trend line number 1 and the number 2. But if it breaks below the second trend line, then there's a bit more space to this bottom, and below that bottom, then of course a bearish breakout is indeed occurring on the pound dollar, and then probably the euro dollar would be making the bearish breakout as well. So those are the important lines in the sand for myself. And if it does break below this 153, then ultimately this downtrend could continue, because if we do look at the weekly, then obviously we do see a very big momentum here right about there. So all of this upside could just be a correction, and price could turn, for instance, at the 61.8 fib or the 50, which already it has respected. So this 50 fib could be the turning spot if price breaks through the support lines and basically the bottom right in here. Then of course this could happen to the downside as the continuation of this momentum, and the upside is just correction. For the moment though, there is that chance, as long as price stays in this channel, that price gets up to the 61.8 fib and breaks out like this, hits the 61.8 and then makes a bearish turn, something like that. That's what I'm looking for. So important lines right here as support, or indeed for the bullish breakout above resistance up to the 61.8 within this uptrend channel. That's what I'm looking for. So keeping a very close eye on this trend line here, and the 4-hour chart, that's this trend line. It's making kind of an ascending wedge, which is a bullish chart pattern. So I'll be keen on that. Of course, there is a pound vote interest rate, I think on Thursday. So that's something to be very cautious of, and that could seriously increase volatility and price action. Be careful of that. The dollar yen basically is in a, well, it's an uptrend, right? Big momentum here as well, and even momentum here. So from that point of view, quite a bullish move, but this consolidation has lasted already quite a while. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a continuation of the consolidation either. So for the moment, for me, this top is crucial, because if it doesn't break this top, then the consolidation could continue. For the moment, the 124.50 is an intermediate resistance. If price breaks above 124.50, there is that chance for price to go to the minus 272 target, which is equal roughly to this top at about 125.60. So there is some space to the upside right below the, right above the top, or the intermediate top and the bigger top and the target right there. This green box or the arrow, that kind of space. Now, if price fails to move into that zone, then it could retrace deeper. It just bounced off the 38.2 fib here, so it could maybe correct down to the 50, right? And then see again a bounce, for instance, and then move up to the target. So definitely keeping an eye on these support levels, these fib levels, if price does move lower, and obviously keeping an eye on this resistance if it does move higher. Ultimately, those are the levels I'm keeping an eye on, and not very interested in this pair. I think I like the pound dollar the most when I look at the majors, or the euro dollar as a second. The dollar yen is, in my opinion, the least interesting one at this point. Last but not least, the Australian dollar versus the US dollar on the 4-hour chart. And I see a very nice downtrend channel, but there's an interest rate decision on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So I'm not going to be trading the Aussie until after that news event, after that decision has been made or announced, I should say. And so I'll be cautious with the Aussie until then. You know, this is a nice downtrend channel, but there is divergence. So from that point of view, you know, currency could do anything. It really depends on that interest rate. After the interest rate, well, obviously, if we get a big spike up, we still might be hitting resistance. Something to consider when, you know, the momentum volatility has died down after that news event. Perhaps that could be a turnaround with a big perhaps. And if it does make the spike down, well, perhaps then a pullback back to the channel, and that could be then a resistance spot. You know, it is in a downtrend, so from that point of view, downtrend continuation either as a break or a pullback here, something to think about. Now, obviously, if there is a big momentum spike and price starts to make a bull flag like this, and it has a sufficient length, maybe on the hourly chart, and we see you know, 1 day of price action going sideways like this, well, and it starts to break, obviously that could be then a bullish breakout of a bull flag. So it really depends what kind of price action we see in the next day or two. I recommend taking a look at the webinars on Tuesday and Wednesday to stay up to date about what the Australian USD could be doing in the next week. Make sure to follow Admiral Markets in the social media to get all the great analytics that are provided on a daily and hourly basis. So thank you so much for visiting this video, and wish you all great trading. Cheers.